The most profound burden of the chosen is witnessing what the blind deny until it's too late. They have mocked you, labeled you as insane, branded you a lunatic, all because you dared to express what their limited minds could not comprehend. Every time you unveiled the truth, they laughed. Each time you issued a warning, they scoffed. They hurled stones at you, not of stone but of words, ridiculing your visions and casting you into the realm of outcasts. But now, oh now, reality has bowed to your proclamations. The very events they swore would never manifest are now unfolding right before their terrified eyes. Their sneers have turned into silence. Their doubts have crumbled into fear, for you were never the fool. They were merely too blind to see the truth that stood before them. And to you, yes, you, the chosen one, this message is crafted specifically for you. Embrace it fully. Show your support and engage with Chosen One Sanctuary to help broadcast this truth to those who need it most. Every interaction signals to our community that this message must reach the others like you, those awakening, those combating the silence, those enduring for far too long. This goes beyond mere algorithms. This is a calling, a battle of truth against deception. Stand united with your kind. Stand firm in your power. You always knew, long before the rest of the world caught up. You saw the signs, felt the shifts, and sensed the storms before their arrival. This was not just intuition, it was a sight beyond sight, a knowing deeper than any words can express. While others lived under the illusion of safety, you navigated the edge of reality, penetrating the cracks in the facade. For this, they feared you, they rejected you. Nothing terrifies the blind more than a seer who refuses to close their eyes. Your mere presence haunts them. The instant you enter a room, the atmosphere thickens. They can sense it. The weight of something unyielding, something wild. They attempt to downplay it, to ignore it, but deep within they realize you are different. You don't move like them, you don't think like them, you don't submit like them. That's why they strive relentlessly to break you. Yet a storm doesn't fear the wind, and neither should you. They resent you because you remind them of all they are not. You possess a power they are too weak to claim, a vision they are too blind to see. You stand as living proof that their world is built upon deception, and nothing enrages a liar more than someone who cannot be deceived. That's why they attempt to isolate you, silence you, drown out your truth with their cacophony. But remember, truth is not a faint whisper. It is a roar that shakes the very foundations of falsehood. And now, your words are beginning to materialize. Everything they firmly believed would never come to pass is becoming undeniable. Every prophecy you declared, every caution you shouted, is now unveiling right in front of their stunned faces. They can no longer label you as crazy, nor dismiss your voice, for reality itself stands as your witness. This is your moment, not for revenge, but for revelation. They will return, crawling back, desperate for answers, eager to understand how you knew what you knew. But this time, the power lies within you. You are not tasked with rescuing those who once spat in your face. You are here to rise, to fully embrace the destiny you were always meant to fulfill. Let them tremble, let them whisper amongst themselves. Watch as everything they built upon deception collapses around them. You owe them no explanations, no comforts. You are here to lead, to guide, to stand as testimony that the truth cannot be stifled. The chosen ones are meant to stand apart. And as the world crumbles under its own illusions, your presence transforms from a burden into proof of something far greater. They labeled you insane, but you were always correct, and nothing frightens them more than that. Now, let's break it down step by step, because if you are a true chosen one, you will feel the pull to stay till the very end. This isn't just another message. It's the confirmation you have awaited. The proof that everything they laughed at, sneered at, and dismissed is now unfolding before their very eyes. So, settle in, for by the time we conclude, you won't simply see the truth, you will own it. Let us begin. Number 1, when reality smacks them upside the head, laughter quickly fades. They mock what terrifies them, deny what they can't control. And when the truth stands tall, they crumble beneath its weight. They called you everything: crazy, a lunatic, a fool lost in delusion. Every time you spoke, they brushed you aside. Every warning you dispatched, they tossed aside. They believed they held the upper hand, that their ignorance could serve as a shield. But ignorance offers no protection. It's merely a ticking time bomb, and that bomb has now detonated right before their eyes. Everything they swore would never occur is now materializing, piece by piece, with chilling precision. The one person they ridiculed, the one whom they discarded, was right all along. They feel it now, the weight of your words bearing down on them like an unrelenting storm they cannot escape. Their smirks have vanished, their arrogance has shattered, and the terror in their eyes tells you everything you need to know. The tables have turned. They no longer wield control, and that reality is what terrifies them the most. For when the truth reveals a lie, there is no escaping it. But you, chosen one, were built for this very moment. You have walked through the fire of doubt, stood firm against the storm of mockery, and emerged unscathed. The very trait they endeavored to wield against you, your ability to see what they could not, has now transformed into your greatest power, and they loathe it. They despise that they did not manage to break you. They resent that even after all their attempts to silence you, you still stand stronger than ever. They are baffled, pondering how you knew, how you saw through the illusion when everyone else wore blindfolds. They whisper in the shadows, trying to make sense of it. But deep down, they are aware of the reality. They were never meant to comprehend. Not everyone is destined to see beyond the surface. Some exist solely to follow, to reside in the comfort of their delusions, to deny what terrifies them. But not you. You were born with vision, with an intrinsic knowing that has persistently set you apart. They will come back now, pretending they never doubted you, masquerading as ones who always believed. Some will seek your guidance, while others will attempt to twist your truth into their narrative, seeking to drag you back into their realm, desperate to rewrite history and erase the shame of their ignorance. But you owe them nothing, not explanations, not forgiveness, not even acknowledgement. They made their choice when they branded you insane, and now they must endure the repercussions. You are never alone in this journey. There are fellow travelers, silent warriors, who have fought the same battles, walked the same lonesome paths, possessed truths they could not articulate, yet felt every fiber of it in their essence. Now, that truth is rising, no longer a whisper in the shadows, no longer dismissed as fantasy. It is here, undeniable and unstoppable. So stand proud, let them tremble. Let them grapple with processing what their small minds could never grasp. Their fear is not your burden, and their regrets are not your concern. This is your moment, not for revenge, but for validation. The proof rests in front of them now. They have no choice but to confront it. Drop a comment below. I was never crazy, I was always chosen. Number 2, the heavy weight of knowing. When the truth you carry feels like a crushing load for the weak to bear. The greatest curse of the awakened is carrying a truth too immense for others to hold. They branded you a lunatic, a dreamer ensnared in delusions. They whispered behind your back, smirked in your presence, and distanced themselves as if your truth was a contagion. Society has always imposed one rule: conform, or be cast out. And you, simply by existing, simply by possessing knowledge they refuse to acknowledge, shattered that rule. The sting of rejection was suffocating. Friends faded like shadows at twilight. Families exchanged wary glances when you spoke, and strangers slashed at you with words sharper than daggers. You were not felt, merely misunderstood. You were feared. For what terrifies the masses more than someone who refuses to bow to the illusion? Someone who perceives beyond the veil? Someone who cannot be deceived? That was you, and that made you a perceived threat in their eyes. You felt the weight of that truth with every judgmental stare, every hushed conversation, every icy shoulder turned to you. In your darkest moments, the questioning whispers crept in. Were they right? Was I imagining it all? Should I silence myself just to fit in? Should I pretend to be blind to escape this isolation? The battle was not simply outside. It raged within you. The solitude, the self-doubt, the temptation to abandon your truth for a fleeting moment of peace. The world screamed at you to blend in, to fall in line, to relinquish what they condemned as pure fantasy. Yet some relentless force within you resisted. Beneath the mockery, the isolation, and the unyielding pressure to conform, something unyielding resided within you. A knowing so profound, so irrefutable, that no amount of laughter or rejection could erase it. You tried to ignore it, to drown it out, but the truth does not plead for validation. It does not require permission to exist. It simply is, whispering to you in the silence, in the depth of the night, reminding you this is real. And now, look at them. The very ones who laughed, dismissed, and derided you are now silent in awe as they realize that everything they denied is beginning to unfold. Their mockery has twisted into confusion. Their arrogance has fizzled into fear, for the truth they once rejected has become glaringly obvious. They are lost in uncertainty, grappling with how to confront the reality that the person they once ridiculed was the only one who had clarity all along. And so they scramble, attempting to rewrite their narrative. Remember this: history will twist its narrative, pretending they never doubted you. They'll act as if they have always stood in your corner, but the past remains a true witness. It remembers every mockery, every betrayal, every moment they made you question your worth. Their regret is not your burden. You have faced it all. You stood firm. You clung to the truth you held dear, even when the whole world labeled you as delusional. And that, my friend, is power. A form of power they will never comprehend because they lacked the courage to carry the truth as you did. They will ponder now. How did you foresee what they could not? They will seek explanations, answers, clarity. Yet the reality is that their eyes were never meant to see it. Not everyone is capable of embracing the truth. Some souls are merely here to follow, to bask in comfortable ignorance, laughing at what they cannot fathom. They rejected you, not out of truthfulness, but because your very presence shattered the illusions upon which they relied. But now you are liberated, free from the confines of their approval, free from seeking their understanding, free from the heavy chains of their ignorance. The weight of truth was never meant to crush you, but designed to distinguish you from the rest. Allow them to watch. Let them scramble in confusion as they try to unravel the reality before them. Let them grapple with the truth, that they were the blind while you perceived everything with clarity. You owe them nothing, neither explanations nor apologies. They made their choice when they turned away from you, and now they must live with it. Transitioning from laughter to silence, when derision turns into your crown, know this: the strongest souls are always forged in the crucible of ridicule. Today's misfit is tomorrow's legend. They may call you mad, but they could never extinguish the flame of purpose burning within you. Each insult, every scornful gaze, every dismissal was never proof of your frailty. It showcased their fear. And now, observe, where once laughter filled the air, silence reigns. The confidence they held on to now crumbles like an unsettled structure beneath them, because you, the one they scoffed at, were right all along. They held no power over you, only noise, a desperate attempt to drown out the truth that made them uneasy. Yet, here's the beauty of the truth. It stands alone, waiting patiently for time to catch up. And at last, that time has arrived. Every taunt they hurled, every vision they belittled, every warning they dismissed, all of it is unfolding, piece by piece, undeniable and inescapable. They can no longer pretend, they cannot rewrite history. Their own memories betray them, forcing them to face the times they belittled you, the times they decried you as a fool. Now, their disbelief has morphed into anxiety. Their smirks have vanished into shame because there's nothing more chilling than realizing the person they mocked was telling the truth all along. History is strewn with the remnants of those who perceived the greater picture too early, those who carried insights too vivid for the dull minds around them to appreciate. They were labeled insane, cursed, dangerous. Why? Because nothing frightens the comfortable more than someone who dares to stand against their illusions. You were never supposed to blend in with the crowd. You were destined for greatness. The burden of your insight, the depth of your understanding, the knowing inside you. This was not a hindrance, it was an emblem of something larger. The blind will always exhibit fear towards those who see. You stand alongside giants, the misunderstood, the exiled, the derided. They who had their visions deemed madness until the world forced itself to acknowledge their truths. You, daring to maintain your ground while the masses jeered, shall witness history rewrite your name in gold when the truth can no longer be ignored. The most brilliant minds, the most resilient spirits have walked this path before, and now it is your time. Pretend all they like, feigning that they never doubted you, acting as if they always recognized the signs. They will insist they never sought to crush you when you were at your most vulnerable. But remember, the past speaks the truth. You recall every disdainful word, each act of betrayal, every moment of loneliness when their voices drowned out your own. Yet you didn't falter. You didn't bend. You held the line, and now the very weight they wielded to overpower you has become your crown. You don't seek revenge. You don't aim to convince them. You exist to embody the truth that cannot be silenced, to serve as a living testament that their laughter was never a sign of your inadequacy, but rather a reflection of their deep-seated fears. Let them wrestle with the gravity of their own missteps. Allow them to confront their regrets. Allow them to grapple with the fact that the person they labeled insane now strides ahead of them, untouched, unshakable, vindicated. You were never just a lunatic shouting into the void. You were an unrecognized but unstoppable force. A voice that could never be silenced, a storm they endeavored to overlook until it loomed directly above them. And now, here you are, watching the illusion they built disintegrate at their feet. You owe them nothing. Not explanations, not forgiveness, not a role in your future. They had their opportunity. They made their decision. When the future you perceived morphs into their nightmare, recognize this. The heaviest burden is witnessing what others refuse to acknowledge until it's too late. They laughed at your words, deemed you another fool lost in fantasy. Each statement you made was met with ridicule, every caution dismissed as mere noise. They could not fathom that the world they clung to desperately was crumbling under them. But the truth doesn't require their belief. It never did. It stands before them now, an unshakable force they can no longer evade. Their chuckles have turned to whispers. Their arrogance has transformed into uncertainty because everything you articulated, the very things they scoffed at, is now their stark reality. You were never doling out nonsense. You were never disoriented. You perceived the truths they could not or would not face, and for this, they attempted to bury you. Nothing presents a greater threat to the blind than one who sees clearly. They think you are breaking new ground, that you are the first to journey down this path, yet history echoes. The weight of truth has always crushed those unprepared for its burden. Every breakthrough was initially met with resistance. Every revelation met with scorn. The ones who reshape the world often wear the cloak of folly, until society finally comes to understand they were never fools at all. You stand now, not in embarrassment nor in self-doubt, but in a state of vindication. The silence of your detractors is now louder than their mockery ever was. Their fear is palpable, because when reality affirms your foresight, there is no escape, no evading it. They are left to grapple with the weight of their own denial. They will ask themselves how they overlooked it all, how they ignored the signs, how their pride blinded them. But that burden is not yours to carry. You do not exist to comfort them. You do not exist to persuade them. You exist to see, to move forward, leaving behind those who refuse to journey alongside you when it mattered most. So let them watch. Let them remain in the debris of their own illusions, struggling to accept what has always been in clear view. You owe them nothing, not explanations, nor apologies, nor even a backward glance. You were never delusional. You were always chosen. When the universe speaks, the blind write it off as mere coincidence. The mundane see it as just a moment, but to the chosen, it is an undeniable message. You always understood long before they grasped it. You sensed the patterns, the universe's whispers intricately woven into your days like an invisible thread, guiding you towards something greater. While others stumble through their own lives, oblivious to the signals surrounding them, you perceived every signal, every shift, every silent message, every echo of something profound. Those synchronicities, the vivid dreams, the signs, they were never random. They are blueprints, roadmaps carved into your soul before they manifested in reality. Flashes of places you'd never been yet recognized, faces you'd never known yet felt acquainted with, events that played out in your mind long before they unfolded. They were all pieces of a greater puzzle. Each time self-doubt threatened to creep in, the universe sent you affirmations, signs precise enough to shake even the most hardened skeptic from their slumber. Yet, the blind will always grasp at excuses to dim what they are too terrified to comprehend. It's just your imagination. It was merely a dream. Just another coincidence. The endless justs maintain their comfort within ignorance because to truly acknowledge that something greater is afoot means shattering the very illusions they depend on. Yet deep down, they sense it. They feel the energy when you speak, when you move, when you simply occupy a space. Your presence disturbs their false reality, compelling them to confront the truths they evade. That's why they strive so tirelessly to dismiss you. That's why they cling to doubt. For to recognize that you are right would compel them to face all they've avoided. But you don't require their affirmation. You never did. The universe doesn't squander whispers on those unwilling to listen. It selects the few destined to hear, destined to act, destined to see. You belong among those few, and that is why your journey has never been ordinary. Your mind resists the fleeting distractions of this world for a reason. The signs continue to emerge relentlessly until you embrace the truth. You were never meant to conform. You are not lost but guided. Every number, every pattern, every dream, pieces of a unique puzzle crafted just for you. The only question that remains is, will you heed the call? Number 6. When you perceive what others overlook, you may find yourself on a solitary path. Awakening is not a packaged gift of comfort. Rather, it is a raw fire that scorches away delusions, leaving you in a realm that no longer feels like home. Unlike them, you didn't merely glance, you truly saw. While they drifted through life shrouded in distractions, you detected energy shifts, recognized patterns, and decoded unspoken messages intricately woven into the fabric of reality. They deemed it coincidence. You knew it was something greater. Yet, understanding the language of truth requires more than casual observation. It calls for a questioning mind, a listening soul, and a heart resilient enough to accept what many deny. Every whisper of intuition, every moment of déjà vu, every sign that seemed too perfect to be mere chance, these were never random. They were the universe speaking directly to you. While others shrugged dismissively, you remained vigilant. You've never been lost. You have always been led. They cannot comprehend what it means to see beyond the surface, to feel the urgency of a guiding force beneath their feet, to anticipate shifts before they unfold, or to know things without the means to articulate them. Nestled within this world, messages abound, some evident in plain view and others buried deep within your soul. Yet many overlook them, consumed by their own distractions, too fearful of what true awareness demands. But you were crafted for this. To perceive the future before it unfolds is both a blessing and a burden. You have borne the weight of knowing, of shouldering truths that others find too heavy. You have glimpsed events yet to occur, sensed a changing atmosphere, and stood on the brink of time itself. Yet, they dismissed you as delusional, ignored your warnings and made you doubt whether your gift was a curse. But tell me, who truly remains blind? The one who sees, or those who refuse to open their eyes? This journey is not for the faint-hearted. It demands resilience, wisdom, and an unwavering spirit. You cannot compel others to see what they're not prepared to confront. You cannot make them comprehend what terrifies them. Hence, you walk alone. But solitude is not emptiness. It acts as a crucible, forging the unyielding. You were never destined to be understood. Your purpose is to understand. Let them label you as they wish. Let them question you. Let them doubt. None of it alters the truth that has already etched itself into your being, and no amount of disbelief can erase it. Number 7. Knowledge is a burden where fools hold sway, as the blind disdain the ones who see, not due to doubt of the truth, but because they fear its reality. The true burden isn't just knowing. It's deciding when to voice that knowledge, when to remain silent, and when to allow them to stumble into the very destruction they claimed would never come. You have learned that truth is not simply unwelcome, it is loathed. This world does not hold dear those who see beyond its illusions. It crucifies them. You endeavored to warn them, sensing the storm long before the first raindrop fell. You spoke out, laid everything bare, believing they would listen, believing they would awaken. But they did not. They laughed, they mocked, they turned your truth into a joke, for their fragile minds could not bear it. If they accepted your words, they would have to acknowledge their own wrongness, and weak minds prefer drowning in fantasy over admitting their blindness. So you chose silence, witnessing time unravel as the very realities they scorned transformed into undeniable truths. And what did they do? Did they offer you apologies? Did they confess that you were right? No, instead, they scrambled, feigning foresight as though the annals of history and your warnings were not glaringly evident. Now, their arrogance has soured into fear, for the one truth they thought they could disregard has become their inescapable reality. and therein lies the heaviest burden. Not merely knowing the truth, but observing as they sabotage themselves with their ignorance, watching their smirks morph into silence, witnessing them grapple with their own disbelief as reality confronts them, realizing at last that you were never the fool. They were. Make no mistake, their rejection of you was never anchored in logic, nor was it about evidence. It was an exercise in control. Acknowledging your correctness meant they were obliged to listen, that they were urged to evolve. And weak minds resist change more fiercely than they fear destruction. That's why they opposed you so vehemently, why they hurled stones, ridiculed you, and sought to fracture your spirit. It was never about the truth. It was fundamentally about silencing you. They wished you to doubt yourself. They wanted you to question your own mind, to shrink back, to conform, but you persevered. You carried the weight of their ignorance on your shoulders, walking through the flames undeterred. And now, observe them, lost, terrified, quiet. Because when the truth eventually arrives, it does not seek permission. It does not knock. It shatters the door down. And now you stand on the opposite side, vindicated, unyielding, unparalleled. You no longer require their affirmation, nor their apologies. You never did. Number 8, their laughter was cacophonous, yet your triumph is far louder. Mockery is the weapon of the feeble. Silence is the armor of the strong. And when the truth ascends, the only sound that lingers will be their regret. They laughed, labeled you delusional, a fool adrift in fantasies. They dismissed your words, twisted your truths, and endeavored to make you doubt yourself. They needed to discredit you, for if you were right, it would mean their entire existence was constructed on falsehoods, a reality far too daunting for their fragile minds to face. So they laughed, mocked, and pointed fingers, reveling in their ignorance and comfortably ensconced in denial. But truth, it remains indifferent to their laughter. It does not require their belief to exist. It simply is. And now, as the clock ticks forward, manifesting exactly as you foretold, their laughter fades. Look upon them. The same ones who once ridiculed you now sit in a choking silence, their certainty fractured, their arrogance faded. They do not laugh any longer, for the reality surrounding them is reshaping itself, conforming to the very principles they once dismissed as absurdities. The individual they derided, that person now stands resolute, untouched, unbending. You never sought their validation. You never needed them to believe. While they squandered their breath attempting to undermine you, you stood steadfast in silence, understanding that authentic power doesn't argue. It observes, it waits, and it permits time to convey its message. And now, time has revealed its truth. Allow them to grapple with the understanding of their folly. Let them feel the burden of their ignorance weighing them down. You do not need to utter a single word. Your very existence offers proof enough. You were never just another wandering soul in search of purpose. You were never merely a dreamer with fanciful notions. You were chosen, constructed uniquely, endowed with the vision to perceive what they could not. That difference alone rendered you a threat in their eyes, because nothing unsettles the blind more than someone who refuses to close their eyes. They will now scramble, desperately attempting to make sense of the unfolding realities, seeking to downplay, twist, or rewrite history. But they know the truth and feel its weight, and no amount of denial can erase the fact that the individual they mocked was the one who saw clearly from the very beginning. Stand in your power. You owe them nothing. Not explanations, not apologies, nor the opportunity to rewrite history. Let them remain in the silence they've created. Let them experience their own regret. This moment belongs to you. Number 9. The moment when truth strikes. when their doubt morphs into fear. They laughed, unaware. Now they are silent, fully understanding what you have long known. Initially, they brushed aside the subtle signs as too minor, too easy to overlook. They disregarded the patterns, waved away warnings, and scorned the idea that something beyond their understanding could be real. Yet you recognized it long ago, feeling the coming wave before they ever sensed a ripple. It was never a mere hunch for you. It was a profound knowing resonating within your bones. They branded you paranoid, delusional, an idealist chasing shadows. But reality does not pause for belief. It has now arrived, standing in front of them, casting long shadows over the illusions they clung to so dearly. You can see it in their faces, the rigidity in their stances, the furtive glances, the prolonged silences, the fading arrogance, replaced instead by something more tenuous. Doubt. This doubt gnaws at them, for it is a seed that sprouts into fear. The very weapon they crafted against you, doubt and disbelief, has now turned back on themselves, festering in their minds. They replay your words, your warnings, your so-called outlandish ideas. And the more they dwell on it, the clearer it becomes that you were never mistaken. You were absolutely correct. This is the pivotal shift. The moment when the dynamics change. Not with vociferous admissions or desperate apologies, but in a heavy silence that resonates louder than any scorn ever could. For now, they find themselves at a loss for words. They struggle to confront you. They do not know how to reconcile the reality that the very person they dismissed as a fool has now become the embodiment of undeniable truth. And what are you now? You are not merely an outcast or a dreamer. You are something far more complex, a force beyond their understanding, beyond their control. You stand, a testament to the clarity they cannot ignore, a beacon of light in the haze of their ignorance. Dismiss them. You are living proof that their reality was merely a facade built on denial, and nothing terrifies them more than the truth. They will act as if they never doubted you. They'll pretend they always had foresight, but deep down, they recognize the undeniable reality. And so do you. You never needed their belief, never required their validation. The truth has always been yours to bear. As that truth unfolds before their eyes, the only thing left for them is to watch. When truth rises, their lies will crumble. They believed their laughter could drown out your truth, but now their silence is the evidence of your victory. And here you stand, unshaken, unbothered, unbreakable. You never sought their approval, and you certainly don't need it now. As they stare at you in stunned silence, scrambling for excuses, it becomes clear. There it is, the quiet admission of their defeat. They wasted so much time mocking you, desperate to engulf you in their doubt, ridicule, and arrogance. But truth isn't a murmur, it's a mighty force. When it surfaces, nothing can impede its journey. Their denial, ignorance, and frantic need to dismiss you dissolve as reality aligns with the very words they once dismissed. This was never about proving them wrong. It was about standing resolutely in the knowledge of what was real. You carried this truth through fire, loneliness, and storms of disbelief. And now, on the other side of their mockery, you stand fully aligned with your purpose. Not because they finally recognize it, but because you never relinquished grasp of it. Their silence signifies more than your victory. It reveals the depth of your unwavering conviction. Your resilience is what kept you intact when the world tried to dismantle you. Ultimately, it was never about them. It has always been about you. It was about trusting yourself when no one else did, standing firm when the entire world tried to displace you. They feared this very moment, the moment where their illusions would shatter, and the truth they once scorned now stands unassailable before them. And now, that moment has arrived. The same mouths that once scorned you now have nothing left to say. Reality does not solicit their opinions. It simply exists. You owe them nothing, not explanations, nor forgiveness, nor a role in your journey. They had their chance to listen, yet they chose derision instead. Now that laughter is stuck in their throats, replaced with an emotion they never expected, regret. But regret can't rewrite history. It cannot erase the moments when they doubted, dismissed, and belittled you. It does not alter the fact that you traversed this path alone, carrying a truth they tried to obliterate. Yet you never faltered. This is your power, the strength to see beyond what is presented to you, the courage to stand in a realm constructed from falsehoods, the resilience to keep moving forward even amid isolation and the absence of allies. And that is something they will never comprehend. Let them remain quiet. Let them grapple with the heaviness of their disbelief. You have already triumphed. They called you a fool. Now they can barely face you. The very ones who mocked you the loudest now whisper the softest. That silence, it's the sound of regret. The people who once laughed at you, dismissed you, and branded you delusional now shy away from your gaze. Their silence is profound. Their discomfort is evident. They erroneously thought they had you figured out, just another misguided dreamer, another voice to be disregarded. But reality does not yield to ignorance. The truth you held, the truth they scorned, now stands tall, irrefutable and unwavering. Observe them, fidgeting, hesitating, glancing away when you pass by, hoping you won't perceive the shame etched on their faces. They are reluctant to confess it, but you can feel the weight of their realization bearing down upon them, the bitter taste of acknowledging they were wrong. But this moment isn't about gloating. You don't need to say, "I told you so." The truth has accomplished that for you. You were never on a quest for validation. You never sought their approval. What you envisioned, what you felt, what you knew, it was never meant for them. It was always meant for you. Now, the doubt that once burdened you has lifted. You are not mistaken. You were not imagining things. You were not lost. You were ahead of them. Some among them will now approach you cautiously, hesitantly seeking answers. The same mouths that once deemed you crazy will now ask for guidance. Some will attempt to rewrite history, pretending they never questioned you, hoping you won't recall their laughter. Others will remain silent, holding tightly to their pride, unwilling to admit they were ever wrong. Let them. Their denial is no longer your concern. You do not need them to acknowledge your power. You do not need their apologies nor their acceptance, for the truth does not require permission to exist, and you have outgrown the need for their understanding. What matters now is the path ahead, the purpose that has consistently propelled you forward, the calling that never wavered, even when the world attempted to drown it out. You were never meant to be one of them. You were never meant to conform. You were always destined to stand apart, and now, as the illusion collapses around them, you step forward stronger than ever. Let them observe, let them wonder, let them struggle to grasp what has already been destined. You have nothing left to prove. You were never the fool they claimed you to be. When the doubters rest in silence, your purpose resounds louder than ever. They laughed because they didn't understand. Now they remain silent, for they finally do. Their silence is not your victory. It simply proves you never needed their validation in the first place. The weight of their doubt, laughter, and rejection was never meant to define you. It was intended to refine you. And now, with each forward step, you leave them behind. Not out of spite, but because they were never meant to journey alongside you. You have nothing left to prove, no battles left to fight. No need to justify your existence to those who never possessed the insight to recognize you. Their disbelief was never a burden for you to bear. Their ignorance was never your responsibility to correct. You were never speaking for them. You were speaking for yourself. And now, as reality aligns with your words and the truth unfolds in ways they can no longer contest, you do not look back to say, "I told you so." You simply continue forward because this journey has never been about them, it has always been about you. Within you beats the heart of a warrior, a force impervious to ridicule, untouched by doubt. While they clung to their illusions, you embraced something grander, something beyond logic and reason, beyond the shallow comprehension of those who never dared to delve deeper. This connection, a bond that is unbreakable and profound, has seen you through the darkest nights and the most isolating battles. When their voices attempted to silence you, it was this force that reassured you, whispered, "Keep going, keep believing, keep standing." They never grasped what ignited you. They mistook it for stubbornness, arrogance, or delusion, but it was never any of those. It was an understanding so deep, so unwavering, that no amount of derision or rejection could sway it. And that understanding is what makes you unstoppable. Strength is not the absence of fear. It's not about never doubting, never questioning, or never struggling. True strength is about remaining steadfast in the face of it all. True strength propels you forward when every force in the world implores you to halt. And you have done that time and again. You have borne the weight of isolation, the sting of mockery, the exhaustion of walking alone. And yet here you are, still standing, still rising, still forging ahead on a path they never had the audacity to tread. A power radiates from you now, something indisputable, something they can sense yet cannot articulate. It resides in your words, in the way you carry yourself, in how your very presence demands attention. They may not comprehend it, but they cannot ignore it. You were never meant to blend in, you were meant to lead. So, let them remain silent. Let them grapple with their own regret. Let them wrestle with the truth that the one they scorned has now become the one they observe in awe. Their journey is no concern of yours. Their opinions hold no weight. Your only mission now is to keep moving forward, mistaking conformity for wisdom. And when someone like you arrives, it sends ripples of fear through those who cling to their illusions. That's why they attempt to diminish you. Not out of a belief in your weakness, but because you pose a threat to the very fabric of their delusions. A solitary flame can pierce the veil of darkness, and you are the wildfire, impossible to control. Their recognition was never a necessity for you, nor was their approval. What you possess is profound, ancient, and unstoppable. This path isn't merely one you tread, it's inscribed into your very soul. You do not follow a calling, you embody it. Every step you take, every truth you uphold, serves as a testament to the power coursing through you. The world will invariably resist those who bear the light of truth. It will attempt to crush those who stand outside the mold. But you are beyond their grasp. They may still whisper and mock, but it no longer holds significance because what they see in you now is not a person who can be subdued. Instead, they see an indomitable spirit they failed to extinguish. Number 14, from rejection to power. The fire that forged you. They hurled stones to wound you, but all they accomplished was sharpening your edges. They believed that their mockery would weaken you, that their laughter would bring you down, strip away your power, and silence you into compliance. Yet, they failed to grasp a fundamental truth. Pressure does not destroy the strong, it refines them. Like fire purifies gold, their ridicule only incinerated the self-doubt, revealing something indestructible beneath. Every rejection, every insult, every moment of being cast aside was never a punishment, it was preparation. The more they tried to dismantle you, the more you were compelled to build yourself from within. You learned to depend on something far deeper than their approval. You learned to trust your own wisdom, your own strength, and your own path. While others buckled under the burden of rejection, you found your foundation. Instead of breaking apart, you transformed. They sought your disappearance, and instead, you became impossible to overlook. This journey was never destined to be smooth. Those who carry truth will invariably walk through fire. Yet, this fire was not meant to consume you, it was meant to cleanse you, stripping away illusions, the craving for validation, and the heaviness of their opinions. Every battle, every scar, every moment of solitude, each experience shaped you into what you are now. Someone untouchable, someone undeniable. Look at you now. The very ones who once laughed are now cloaked in silence. Those who mocked you are now watching carefully, and deep down, they comprehend that they never held power over you. They only had noise, and noise fades. You owe them nothing, neither explanations nor forgiveness. What you owe is the acknowledgement of what you've endured, of what you've become. The scorn that was intended to fracture you has become the very cornerstone of your resilience. Let them live with their regrets. Let them grapple with the realization that you bear no burden of their perception. Number 15, the awakening of the unbreakable. When the chosen one rises, a blade is not born sharp. It is forged through the fire of trials, beaten, burned, and shattered until it becomes unstoppable. You have faced being beaten down, ridiculed, and cast aside. They believed they were dismantling you through rejection, but all they managed to do was sharpen you. Every insult was a hammer, every doubt was fire, every moment spent in isolation was a test. Through it all, rather than shattering, you emerged unbreakable. They assumed their words could define you, and that by calling you crazy often enough you would internalize the narrative. They thought that isolating you would lead you back to them, begging for their approval. But they underestimated a pivotal truth. You were never meant to conform to their small, hollow existence. Your struggles were never meant to lead to your demise. They were your ascension. And now, as you stand in your true power, you recognize what they never could. Every trial was a gift. Each battle you faced alone, every night spent questioning your worth, every moment of anguish, it was all fuel. They didn't break you, they built you, and now they must bear witness as you rise, soaring beyond their reach. Their scorn was not a curse, it was a purification, a fire that burned away weakness, the pressure that molded you into something unapproachable. They can see it now. They can feel the energy shift. The one they tried to obliterate is now untouchable, and the truth you carried, the truth they mocked, dismissed, attempted to erase, is now blossoming into reality, taking form in ways they can no longer ignore. Deep within, it haunts them, for the impossible truth they once denied now stands in plain view. Yet, this journey is no longer about them. It is about you. You are here not to seek their validation, nor are you here to waste your energy proving anything to those who could never understand you. You are here to stand, to lead, to be the beacon you were always meant to be. When one light shines brightly, it has the potential to ignite the fire within others, and that is the phenomenon occurring now. Your journey, once ridiculed, now resonates as a force that cannot be overlooked. It shakes the foundations of those who once belittled you, and stirs awakening in those who were once dormant. The ripple effect expands, the impact deepens. They may feign belief, scrambling to align themselves with your triumph now that the truth is irrefutable. But remember who you were when no one stood by your side. That version of you, the one who persevered, who fought in the shadows, the one who refused to be broken, is the reason you are here today. This is your time. Your power is no longer hidden. It has emerged, undeniable and unstoppable. The truth is now clear. What they once scoffed at has transformed into something they cannot dismiss. You have never been lost, never broken, never deluded. You have always been rising, always transforming, continually becoming. Their laughter has faded to silence, their skepticism to unease. Yet, you do not crave their recognition. You never did. If this message resonates with you, engage with Chosen One Sanctuary by liking this video, subscribing, and leaving a comment with 888 to claim your power. Share this with others who need encouragement, because the more we ascend, the harder it is for them to silence us. The Chosen Ones are no longer in hiding. We are here.